You can hire the best lawyer and slip through earthly justice. But there comes a day when the gavel doesn't slam in a man-made courtroom. It thunders in the spirit realm. And when that judgment begins, no rush prayers, no last-minute bargains can stall it. For years they tried everything to break you, lies whispered in the dark, plots designed to make you stumble, silent attacks they thought no one would ever trace. And when they couldn't take your body, they set their sights on your spirit, hoping to assassinate your peace. They thought you were easy prey, alone, defenseless. What they didn't realize was that spirit had been watching the whole time. Here's the truth that haunts them. Most powerful networks, whether criminal or spiritual, don't fall because someone exposed them. They collapse under the weight of their own arrogance. Pride makes them sloppy. Confidence makes them loud. And eventually, they tie the very rope that hangs them. That's what's happening now. The grave they dug for you, they're the ones slipping inside of it. But this isn't just about earthly consequences. This is deeper. This is spiritual justice, divine intervention, the kind of reversal that leaves enemies dumbfounded and the righteous speechless. Because when God flips the script, the ending doesn't just change, it makes a statement. So let's talk about it. They thought they could erase you, like a name scratched off a page, like a file deleted from a system. But what they were fighting wasn't fragile. It wasn't flesh alone. You are purpose wrapped in skin, destiny sealed in breath. And no human hand gave you that breath. So no human hand has the authority to take it away. They came armed with slander, with manipulation, with false accusations. They even dabbled in spiritual warfare, convinced they could wear you down piece by piece. But every time you survived, they grew more terrified. Because this wasn't normal resilience. This was divine insulation. Favor that refuses to crack, even under pressure. And the longer you endured, the clearer the truth became. Your endurance exposed their cruelty. Your peace revealed their chaos. Your innocence testified against their guilt. The more you rose, the more their mask slipped. The world began to notice. People started to ask, how did they keep thriving after everything thrown at them? And that question, that silence they couldn't control, became the weapon source used to dismantle their story. Because here's the law of the Spirit. When someone tries to erase what God has established, they don't just fail, they self-destruct. You weren't just a random face in their story. You were the test they never expected, the measuring stick, the divine checkpoint. You were placed in their path not to see if you could endure, but to see how far they'd go when faced with someone they couldn't control. And the truth? They failed. Instead of seeing your presence as a blessing, they saw it as a threat. Instead of honor, they chose envy. Instead of humility, they chose manipulation. Instead of truth, they chose betrayal. That's not just failure, that's spiritual treason. Because in trying to harm you, they exposed how little reverence they had for the divine hand covering you. You didn't have to fight. You didn't have to argue. Just being you was enough to reveal what they'd been hiding. And now the record stands against them. Here's where it gets deeper. They didn't just hurt you out of jealousy. They violated spiritual law. They tried to bend divine order to fit their carnal agenda. And when people play God without authority, the results always end the same: collapse. That's why their plans never held. That's why their victories never lasted. They were attempting to manipulate laws that were never theirs to touch. What looked like strategy was actually self-destruction, because you can't contain what you didn't create. You can't cage what knows is meant to be sovereign. They thought if they couldn't touch your body, they could destroy your destiny. They attacked your name, whispered lies to isolate you, tried to strip you of influence and suffocate your hope. But destiny doesn't die from gossip. Purpose doesn't vanish because people are uncomfortable with your presence. Every lie fertilized the very calling they were trying to bury. Every betrayal made your light shine louder. And now, the very pits they dug for you have become prison cells for them. Because here's the part they never understood. Spirit is patient but not absent. It lets them keep plotting, keep talking, keep digging, not because it's slow, but because it wants their own actions to testify against themselves. That patience was mercy. That delay was space to think twice. But they mistook silence for approval. They confused patience for permission. And that arrogance sealed their judgment. The gallows they built for you, they're hanging from now. And the proof? Your light. You didn't need to clap back. You didn't need to retaliate. Your silence became your statement. Because awareness and integrity always carry a frequency that no amount of lies can drown out. While they were busy talking, Spirit was recording. Every rumor, every manipulation, every twisted narrative, it was all being archived in the ether. And now the files are being opened. The evidence is undeniable. Those who once believed the lies are watching the cracks in the story spread. And the more the truth rises, the louder your peace becomes. Your calm was the alarm. Your endurance was the verdict. They underestimated divine surveillance. They thought secrecy meant safety, that if no one saw, if no one heard, they'd be untouchable. But the unseen realm doesn't need cameras. It doesn't need recordings. It doesn't miss a whisper. It doesn't miss a thought. Every scheme they whispered in the dark, every curse they spoke behind closed doors, every mask they wore in public while plotting in private, it was all documented, and now the receipts are being released. The same hidden things they thought would never surface are crawling into the light, and the same darkness they mocked is now the force exposing them. Because you don't mess with the real ones and walk away untouched. This isn't karma. This is divine order, and the judge who presides doesn't lose cases. Keep rising.